Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott and I'm the Emperor of Stomaria. Today I want to give a progress report for Southwood, a Stomarian province. This is how nations are built and empires are forged. For every nation that becomes integrated into the empire, for every territory that we acquire, for every citizen that joins us, for every drop of water we collect, for every seed that we sow, for every watt of energy we produce, for every silver bar that we stamp, we are securing our future. So today the Waywoodian community are actually hosting their last event of this year. This isn't actually taking place at Southwood or Waywood South, which is the adjoining territory, but is instead taking place in Burley in a public camping site. And I've just come from there and it's all going very, very well. But I was working on the land this morning before I went, and I will be going back up there in just a moment. I just wanted to quickly come down to tidy things up, square things away, and of course just go through what we've been doing and what the plans are for the future, not just at Southwood, but just more generally speaking. So, without further ado, we'll carry on with the tour. So we've got the Great Causeway as always. We actually got a leaf blower, so we'll be using that now it's coming into autumn to try to maintain the integrity of the pathway. Over here we have the fairy garden, the memorial garden as per usual. And of course we have the agricultural heart of Stomaria as things stand. And this is what I have been working on this morning. So I will just quickly go through what the plan is. So as you can see, I have been busy clearing out these beds. We've harvested what can be harvested, and I have started to prepare these beds for November, which is a little over a month from now. So what we're doing, having planted some 24 or so fruits, herbs and vegetables, I've ascertained as to what's going to grow and what's not, what's going to be worth doing and what's not. And what we've decided to do is to go hard on the rhubarb. And the reason for this is many. So first of all, it is a perennial plant, obviously. It's a perennial vegetable, which means we'll plant a crown and it will be there for 10 years. We can split that crown if we want to and keep going like that to plant more and more and more of them. So they're quite a good investment on that front. But also, they are something that rabbits and deer don't typically eat. They're not completely foolproof on that sense. They will eat them if they're desperate enough, but they do not prefer eating them. So they're relatively deer and rabbit resistant, which is good because I'm obviously not here 24/7. And the problem that we have with, say, the strawberries, the raspberries, the blueberries, which have done exceptionally well here, is that they just get eaten before I can harvest them. And even though we can go through the process of putting them in nets and cages, I don't really want to go down that route if I can avoid it. And so going rhubarb is much better from our own perspective. Now, rhubarb can also be used for a wide range of things. You can also, you can have jams, you can have crumbles, you can have pies, you can have gins, and all the rest of it. So it's quite, it's a vegetable that has quite a wide range of uses, as I say. And as an aside, both myself and Empress Samantha and much of my own family do enjoy rhubarb. So we're going to be going hard on the rhubarb to make sure that we make the most of the land, because even though rhubarb, as again one of the criteria here, the rhubarb does thrive in full sun, but it also survives and can grow in partial shade. And that rhubarb over there, which I have partially buried in some soil, which I'm going to knock around in a moment, it was one of the most successful things to grow, and that was only after the first year. Now, typically, as I understand it, you're not actually really supposed to harvest rhubarb in the first year. We did, and it was, as I say, quite a success. But all of these beds, bar a couple here, are going to be rhubarb. The reason that I've left these ones is these are the Brussels sprouts, which should be something to harvest in the next month or so. So as they're becoming ready to harvest, that's when we're going to be planting the rhubarb. So we will probably harvest them, remove them, and then plant rhubarb in there as well. And of course we have the grapevine over here, which is dying back now, but it did grow very, very successfully. But it's just that time of year now where it's just going to start withering on the vine, as it were. And then hopefully next year it'll be established enough to actually start bearing some fruit, because this is a fruit bearing vine in the sense that I have seen it myself. It has grown to be of a massive size. We put it in with very low expectations, and all of this greenery just proves that it has survived, which is great to see. So what I have done, though, because a lot of this stuff has been harvested and taken, you'll notice actually, before I go much further, that the potato beds, which were 2 beds high, they're now down to 1 bed. I have placed 2 of them over there. I haven't decided on the final position of them yet, that these are positioned. They've just been placed over there for the moment. So there'll be another 2 new beds over there. What was I saying? Yeah, the raspberries, the strawberries, the chives, lavender, all of these sorts of things, which have survived and in a lot of cases done, again, incredibly well. I mean, you've got the strawberries over here, which have been successful. We have had fruit from them. In fact, I'm pretty sure as I was pulling them out, there were some strawberries growing still over here. So these are doing very well. And likewise, the raspberry bushes exploded in size. When they were planted, they were just diddly little things, and now they're just massive, massive plants. But the problem, as I say, is that it's just no good to us here, because we can't reap the fruits of the seeds we have sown. And so what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be taking these to my younger brother, who is in fact a Stomarian citizen and is actually a prince of Stomaria at that, and he's going to look after them, have them in his gardens until such a time that we're in a position to plant them more permanently in the next plot of land that we purchase, which will not likely be a woodland in the same way that Southwood is, and then they can start to thrive there. So yeah, that is the intention. As I say, I've got some more work to do here. All of these beds need topping up, turning over, weeding, and then just getting ready for planting in November, which is when the rhubarb, I believe it's Victoria rhubarb we're getting, and that is going to be what we're going to be focusing on. So we're going to be turning Stomaria into a very rhubarb themed nation, certainly for the foreseeable future. But also, as we've discussed before, we're very interested in making jams and other preserves. So honey is going to be something that's also going to be on our radar. We are experimenting with honey, and hopefully next year will be honey being produced on quite a large scale. Not going to bore you with the technicalities of it, but the hives have been established. The bees are collecting honey, but we can't quite harvest the honey just yet. And likewise with the rhubarb, when we plant the crowns, we're going to leave them for a full year. So it'll be actually 2025, I think, by the time we actually start harvesting the rhubarb in any real meaningful way. But once they are established, they'll last for some 10 or 12 years, I think. I think some might last even up to 20 years. I think the Victoria one is, as a 10 or 12 years, but it might last longer. But even if it doesn't, we can always split the crown and then spread it even further and faster. So it's going to be a great investment, I think. They've already grown here, so I know they grow here. So there's very little downside potential from where I'm sitting. Now, in terms of the rest of the woodland, not a lot has happened. This chicken pen, which has been partially taken down, still needs to be looked at more seriously. It's just something that's been on my to-do list for a very long time, and King Raoul's to-do list for a very long time. We've both been very busy with various other things, so we've just not had enough time to really get to grips with this, but this is very nearly cleared out. I'm not really sure what we're doing with the straw bales. They were actually put there only for the Imperial Summit, and they've just kind of been left there to do what they've done. But we might try to, I don't know if you can compost this sort of thing, but maybe we'll look at doing something like that, or make some bedding for something, for some of the fruits and vegetables that we plant. We'll do something with that. The mound of soil that we once had here, for those who have been keeping track of where we're at and what we've been doing here, you'll notice that it barely exists anymore. So all of the soil has been used, it's been utilised, it's been used to fill the beds, mixed in with compost, and done very, very well. As I say, over there, there's still a lot more weeding to do and all the rest of it. But yeah, that's all things that we need to do. Got the flags flying proudly in the breeze again. Looks like Wayward's one's been wrapped up a few times. Never mind. In terms of what's going on at Wayward South, not a lot is happening. In fact, quite the opposite, in the sense that they are actually looking to downsize a lot of their operations here, because I mean, the idea is that come next year or the year after, there will be a new territory, a new area in which they're going to be focusing a lot of their attention. This will still be Waywoodian territory, but it might not necessarily be the main hub of operations. So I know these chickens, the flocks have already been downsized quite severely, but these chickens I think are also on the way out, as are the ducks, which are elsewhere. I think they're in that pen over there. There is no plans for any agricultural development aside from developing their berry industry, or their berry plants. So as you can see, they've sort of started to grow them all the way across here, and eventually it's going to go up over the pen. The initial idea was to feed the chickens with them, but either way they are going to keep doing that, because I think if the chickens go, they're going to turn this into an area where raspberries and raspberries and blueberries and all manner of other berries, strawberries and the like can grow, and the birds won't get to them because it'll basically just be a giant cage for berries to grow in there. So I think that's the plan there. I think there's a lot else happening here. This is all berries all in here, so you can see they're going very hard on the berries, because berries do grow exceptionally well in this woodland because of the I think the soil conditions are right, and the partial shade. Certainly, I mean, this is quite late in the day, which is why it's quite dark at the moment, but you do get quite a lot of sun in the woodland all the same. Again, there's more debris that's been pulled out, needs to be burnt, needs to be got rid of. But yes, it's everything has just been downsized on this side, and on this side we're not downsizing as such, but we are simplifying everything as much as we can. In times to come, I am looking to expand the beds a little bit, maybe taking out these fence posts and just bringing it back a little bit further across, or just establishing more beds elsewhere anyway. However, the game plan going forward is going to be for us to look at the next plot of land, because this is only the beginning. This is the first minor stepping stone. As great and as a milestone as it is, you can't survive like this. We can't build a community just with what we have here. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking in 2025, which gives us plenty of time, to amass enough funds to purchase not just land, but actual land with either planning permission to build dwellings or dwellings on them to start with. And for this to happen, this is obviously going to take a lot of financial resources. We're talking in the hundreds of thousands of pounds. Anywhere between $250,000, $500,000 is more than likely. And I am quite determined to do everything in my power to make that happen. So hopefully that gives you some idea of what we've been doing and what we plan to do in the future. Now, if you wanted to get involved in Stomaria in any way, then please feel free to get in touch and let us know. But otherwise, if you did enjoy this video and you did want to support Stomaria, then please feel free to give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.